There's no doubt one of the biggest trends this year was automatic GMT watches, and honestly, whether you need to track a second time zone or not, that extra functionality and the 24-hour bezel just makes a watch look really cool. Because of that surge in popularity, a lot of brands lean on that same design blueprint, so it makes it a lot harder to find a GMT that actually stands out. So when MT&W reached out to me asking if I'd be up to review one of their watches, I didn't hesitate to say yes. Today we're taking a look at the Oracle GMT, and everything about this watch is super solid, great specs and build quality. But it was the design that really caught my eye. And before we get deep into the video, I just want to point out that this watch is super affordable, especially when compared to other automatic GMT watches. It's priced at just $349. And honestly, I'd give the edge to the Oracle because this watch is quite impressive. The dimensions are just about perfect for a lot of wrist sizes and definitely on my 7-inch wrist. The 40mm diameter and 48mm lug-to-lug size allows the watch to have great wrist presence while still wearing comfortably. The 12mm in thickness definitely aids in that comfort, and that slim profile looks awesome. A bit sleek, a bit refined, for sure a great overall size. I do think the dial is the big star, but the case is really quite impressive and another reason why I'm totally digging this watch. From the side view, you could see the downward sloping lugs that kind of have the illusion that they're getting thinner towards the tips. I think the polished chamfering along the edges creates that appearance. Those curved lugs also helps wrap around the wrist nicely, which is always a welcome detail. The top and sides are brushed with nice satin finish, so that polished chamfering also helps break up the different sections of the case to help with depth and visual pop. It's an eye-catching, solid case with just the right amount of details and different angles. On the back side is a screw-in solid case back that features some nice details with branding and some different specs. On the front is a flat sapphire crystal with an anti-reflective coating, and thank goodness it does its job well because the dial looks really intriguing and this crystal does a great job with light reflections, creating a super clear view into the dial. Although they didn't specify, I'm pretty certain it's a clear anti-reflective coating, so no blue tint to ruin that black colorway. Perhaps I'm a bit of an OCD watch enthusiast, but unless there's blue on the dial, there's no reason to use a blue-tinted AR coating. It definitely throws things off, at least for me. As far as the movement, we've got the tried and tested Seiko NH34 GMT automatic caliber. It gets the job done, has hacking, hands winding, and allows you to track a second time zone. Simple and effective. The bezel is a big surprise here and really adds a lot to the watch. I like how they didn't go with the traditional coin edge design, but rather a more industrial, really tool watch driven style that's easy to grip and helps give it a sporty look. And this bezel insert is stunning. A big reason for that is the fact that it's made of sapphire crystal, so it has that extra luxe appearance, giving the watch a lot of character and a ton of scratch resistance. And if you are wondering if the bezel has any lume, it does. Specifically Old Radium Swiss Superluminova, the same found on the dial and hands. Although you can't see lume all the time on the watch, just in low light conditions, I do think it looks absolutely awesome and a big part of its appeal. The dial's complex, has a lot of little details that I absolutely love. It takes advantage of a sector dial layout where the center portion has one texture and the outer section has a contrasting finish, which results in a bit of a complex and really eye-catching design. So the center section has a guilloche finish, which adds a really cool premium touch of detail, and then having it surrounded by the outer ring with a different finish just makes it all look really fantastic. It isn't fully matte or fully glossy, just the right balance to add its own touch of detail while still blending in nicely. And then surrounding all of that is the Old Radium Swiss Superluminova tan accents that act as both the minute track and the hour markers. Perhaps the most eye-catching detail about the dial, especially paired with that center guilloche-style detailing. I do think the smartest design choice was not using any text on the dial whatsoever. Sometimes it is necessary to add a little bit of text to fill in some empty spaces on the dial, but with a dial like this, you don't need it at all. There is a date window at the 3 that has been framed and ties in with the white logo below the 12, so overall it all flows well together. I know a lot of people prefer to have a date function on their watch, so here it is. Along with the super cool and interesting dial, the hands are absolutely amazing as well, especially because they're skeletonized, they're fully loomed out, so it really shines bright, has that sci-fi look, and it just looks awesome. There's also a slightly oversized crown that I really like as well. It adds another cool, eye-catching detail and makes winding the watch that much easier because it's easy to grip. The crown is signed with some branding, another nice little detail. Of course, with all watches, an important detail is the bracelet, which could really make or break the enjoyment. This is definitely another area that I'm pleasantly surprised with. At this price point, I'd stack this bracelet against any other watch. Aside from the fact that there is no toolless micro-adjustable clasp, the build quality and detailing is as good as it gets. I will note there's a ton of little micro-adjustable holes, so you are able to get the perfect fit, so you're good to go. I like how they opted for a contrasting finish with both brushed and polished links. The watch has a great balance between sporty and elegance, so this contrasting bracelet helps fuel that look. It's also worth noting that there's absolutely no sharp edges anywhere on the watch, bracelet, or the clasp. Sometimes the corners of lugs can be a bit sharp, the edges of the bracelet links, or the clasp, but everything is rounded out nicely. And speaking of the clasp, it's fully milled, uses a push-button closure system, and has some branding to tie in with the crown and the dial. They list the overall weight of the watch at 148 grams, pretty standard, and it is rated for 200 meters of water resistance, so it definitely would be a great daily gata. I doubt very many people are familiar with MT&W, which I definitely wasn't either before they reached out to me, so it is cool to see another affordable micro brands get in the mix. They started in 2020, and as far as the name, it stands for Memento, Tide, and Watch. Memento represents timelessness, member, and sentimentality. Tide symbolizes rhythm, flow, and the future. And the watch signifies their core crafts, creating watches harmonizing heritage, artistry, and modern tech. It doesn't look like they make a ton of different watches, which makes sense so they could focus on quality. They do have another model that's a very old school inspired chronograph that looks awesome, but I do think the Oracle is probably their flagship model. As I've been enjoying this watch for the past couple weeks, there really isn't anything that I don't like about it. It's well built, has a super cool, unique design, and the build quality is solid. If I had to be totally nitpicky, I guess I'd like to see the date window color frame just so it could blend in a little bit better, but the white does go with the white logo below the 12, so it does blend in pretty well. Overall, though, I don't think it takes away from the enjoyment of the watch. I'm definitely a big fan and think MT&W absolutely nailed it. The affordable microbrand space is definitely getting more and more exciting, and for $349, I don't think you could do wrong with this one.